Dude, why are we watching Lady Frankenstein again?
Look, man, it's Halloween and we got to do something spooky. So let's just watch this public domain cult classic.
Something spooky? Dude, we talk about Alien. We already do. You know what? Whatever. Fine. It's fine. Whatever. Fine.
We should have watched Halloween H2O. Haha, get it?
Okay. All right. Calm down, Cooler Bot. Guys, be quiet. The movie's getting going.
Dude, can you take that beehive wig off, Cooler Bot? I can't even see the dang TV.
Genius is never recognized in its time.
Dude, shut up.
Well, it's a good thing this movie doesn't start out like every other Frankenstein movie in a graveyard.
Are you going to talk through the whole movie?
H2 no.
All right, Cooler Bot, we're just going to be quiet and watch the movie, okay? We don't need any more of your commentary.
Watch out for that wall.
Okay, that's it. I'm turning this off. I'm going to go read some comics or something. Jesus fucking Christ.
Okay, Cooler Bot, do you still want to watch Halloween H2O now?
You mean H-boo-o?
You know, never mind.
Welcome to Crew Expendable. I am legally dissimilar Hallstrom.
And I am comedy genius Rohrbacher.
And we're just a couple of magical remote controls flipping through the channels of the alien universe. But, not today.
Well, not quite today.
Yeah. Today,
we're mixing it up a little bit.
This is unprecedented. This is the very first time we haven't covered something that is officially Alien or, I guess, Predator on the show. Something we kind of said we were never going to do.
Yeah, that was something we've talked about multiple times, and then Neil pitched this to me earlier, and he was like, well, how about we do this? And then I was like, I'm not sure if it counts. And then I took one look at it and went, yeah, it absolutely fucking counts. 100%.
This is close enough, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to call this a bonus episode because then, we could say, well, all the real episodes are on topic. This is a bonus episode. This is a Halloween special, if you'll allow us. In fact, there is I'd say a 70% chance I have underlaid spooky sounds throughout this entire episode. I'm pretty sure I've done that, and if not, this was cut out last minute.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, so we're doing something not technically alien. We're going to talk about an Elvira comic book from 2022.
We sure are.
Yeah, in August 2022, I believe, is when it was released. So
it's specifically it's Elvira in Horrorland number 3 by Dynamite Comics.
And the reason we're covering this is because the whole thing is an alien spoof, right?
It is very explicitly an alien parody with Elvira in it. That is correct.
Yeah. And look, it's spooky season, as the kids say. I've heard some people who are like, put the Halloween back in Halloween. So this is our Halloween special. All right, Elvira, the famous campy horror host, definitely brings the Halloween vibes. I got to ask you up top, Kenny, how familiar are you with Cassandra Peterson, a.k.a. Elvira's whole thing?
I know she exists, and I am familiar with her enough to recognize her when I see a picture of her.
Gotcha.
That's it.
Okay, so Cassandra Peterson is most famous for playing her character Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. She was a host of horror movies, like in the same vein as like your Svengoolies, or prior to Elvira, your Vampira characters who would host television broadcasts of old horror movies. In Elvira's case, Elvira's Movie Macabre, the first series she was in, she would occasionally pop into the viewings with commentary, similar to a Mystery Science Theater 3000, but not nearly as dense in terms of commentary and jokes, and also not as funny.
All right.
She would do wraparound segments, and things would happen before commercials and stuff like that. Your typical sort of hosted movie experience, right?
I got you.
So I sort of I don't know when I first, Elvira's always kind of been there. There's, she has a movie, I think it's called Elvira, Mistress of the Night.
I knew she had a movie, but I could not tell you off the top of my head what it's called.
Yeah, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, just named after her character. I don't know why I was like, oh, it must be Mistress. They must have changed it for the movie.
Well, they might have come up with a weird subtitle for it or something. Who knows?
The only real experience I have with her content was sometime in the mid-2000s. I bought a DVD of Elvira's movie Macabre that featured Gamera Super Monster, which was the final of the old Gamera movies. It was a really bad movie, just like full of stock footage and sort of just like reused scenes and bad puppets and stuff. Like the studio was out of money, and it was like their Hail Mary to try to like not have to declare bankruptcy.
I got you.
And for a long time, the only version of that movie you could find like to purchase on DVD was the Elvira version. So I've got that somewhere in my storage unit. But her shows are like all over streaming. Like all the movie Macabres are available on like Prime Video and Peacock, along with a series she did later called 13 Nights of Elvira. I think that's on those services as well. She's out there crushing it, and the character has shown up in so many different things, right? Cassandra Peterson has appeared as Elvira on the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
All right.
WCW, like wrestling, like Halloween Havocs. A lot of Playboy appearances as well as the Elvira character for things. Cassandra Peterson, the actor, was in like Pee-wee's Big Adventure. She's been in a number of Rob Zombie projects, I think. I think she's most recently in that Munsters movie he put out that looked just so fucking bad.
I've seen it. I've seen it.
Is it terrible?
Okay. It's a comedy movie. And
right.
it didn't really make me laugh, but there were parts of it that were goofy, or that I found to be goofy in the way he intended them to be. But I wouldn't say it's like a good movie.
It looked just like the worst, most phoned in thing I've seen in my life. I'm already not a Rob Zombie movie fan.
I've seen most of his movies, and there's one of them that I would say is like actually genuinely really good, but I didn't really like any of the other of them.
Which one?
The Devil's Rejects.
Oh, okay.
Which is a sequel to House of a Thousand Corpses. Corpses is a movie I didn't really like, but Devil's Rejects was really good. But then they made a third one called 3 from Hell, and I haven't even seen that because I heard it was really bad. But Devil's Rejects, like, I will go on record, I think that is a good movie.
I did watch that back when it came out. I do think I liked it, and I did not like House of a Thousand Corpses. But we're not here to talk about Rob Zombie too much. The Elvira character has also appeared in Scooby-Doo Return to Zombie Island.
I'd believe it.
A number of Scooby-Doo projects. So it's really funny because you get the whole gamut of like Super Mario Brothers Super Show, Scooby-Doo, Storage Wars, Halloween's Scariest Lockers special.
Playboy.
Playboy's Halloween Spectacular or something. The Elvira character maintains, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Are you familiar with the Vampira character from, I think most people's touchstone for that character, because we're all of a certain age, would maybe be Plan 9 from Outer Space or possibly Tim Burton's Ed Wood movie?
Plan 9 is definitely where I'm most familiar with that character from. I've seen Plan 9 once or twice, and I knew going in that Vampira was in it, but like all she does is just kind of like wander around and not really do anything. Right. So I didn't really get like the Vampira experience, but when I watched it, I knew that was her when I saw her.
Gotcha. The Vampira character was a horror hostess from the 1950s, played by Mila Nurmi, I believe. Mm-hmm. So in the 1981, they were going to revitalize her film or her TV show for the LA markets, I believe. They contacted Mila Nurmi to help them revive the Vampira show. They put out a casting call for a new Vampira, and Peterson auditioned for that role and won it. And leading up to the production of that show, suddenly they got a cease and desist from Mila, who felt like who didn't want them to use the Vampira character because she didn't approve of the casting choice. So Cassandra Peterson essentially reworked a Valley Girl character that she had been working on as part of the Groundlings, and adopted some of the more gothic traits and like the gothic look and everything, and created this new character called Elvira, which she was sued over again by Nermi, but won the lawsuit because Elvira was legally distinct enough to not be a copycat.
Yeah, things being legally distinct enough will be an important plot point over the course of this episode, that's for sure.
Yes, it will. So that's just a little bit of background on the Elvira character and Cassandra Peterson's career in general. Now let's talk about this book. All right. Elvira and Horrorland is an anthology comic book series published by Dynamite Comics, right? Mm-hmm. The premise is every issue, Elvira has been sucked into a pocket dimension that is based around a movie. I think the specific thing they say in the page here is that movies create their own pocket dimensions. So Elvira is stuck inside those dimensions, and the only way she can get home is with a magical artifact called the remote control of Federico Fellini. But she doesn't know how to use it, so every issue she just ends up getting stuck in a different pocket universe. There's 5 issues in this series. The first issue is a very clear parody of Psycho, with a nice in-joke in it of accidentally pulling in the killer from the remake.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, it's a really fun book. It's all in black and white, except when the remake killer gets brought in.
Yeah, I actually meant to read the first 2 issues of this so I could be like prepped for it, but I just ran out of time before we had to start. So
yeah, it's really not a big deal. The second issue is a Shining parody, which at the end has an astronaut enter, which is kind of like a reference to just Stanley Kubrick in general. It's like a weird meta reference to faking the moon landing and 2001: A Space Odyssey. And it leads us into issue 3, which we're going to talk about, which is the Alien parody.
I should also mention very briefly that this comic is a pseudo sequel to a previous run of Elvira comics called Elvira in Monsterland.
I thought Monsterland came after this.
Well, what I had seen, like maybe I'm getting the name wrong, or maybe I read it wrong, but I was under the impression that Monsterland happened, but like the way the comic ended is what got her stranded in all of these pocket movie universes.
Okay.
And so she's been traveling through them, trying to figure out how to get out after being stuck there at the end of Monsterland. That's what I thought I had read. Maybe I read it wrong or am misremembering it, but that's what I thought the thing said. So
okay, that might make sense. I don't know the answer, and we're not an Elvira podcast, so we don't really have to nail these details down either. We just care about this one issue. So I'll just go ahead and say in issue 4, it's a Nightmare on Elm Street parody, and issue 5 is a David Cronenberg's The Fly parody.
Which is an insane pick, I gotta say.
Let's list the creators here. The stories, all of these issues were written by David Avallone, with art by Silvia Calfiano, colors by Walter Pereira, letters by Taylor Esposito, and edited by Joseph Rybrandt, with main covers, at least this one, by Dave Acosta. With special thanks to Scott Marcus and Cassandra Peterson, because we are getting a good Cassandra Peterson likeness in this story.
We sure are.
So, with all that business out of the way, Kenny, I think we're going to do this the way we do the new Alien comics, even though this is an old non-Alien comic, and we're going to read this and discuss it as we go through it.
Yeah, because I should say I have not read this yet, so.
Sure. I have looked through it. I think I might have read this close to its release, or at least when it hit Comixology Unlimited. I don't remember anything about it. So
I should say also that the version of it that I'm reading has several different covers at the beginning before the comic actually starts. And what I believe to be the main cover is Elvira like either getting in or getting out of a spacesuit and holding a hatchet while Jonesy is sitting next to her. And you can see the shadow like silhouette of what is clearly a xenomorph approaching like down a tunnel nearby. And she's kind of like looking around exasperated and saying, I swear, if this thing spits, drips, or bursts anything at me, I'm calling my union rep.
It's a good cover. That is the main cover. The variants are very good. One of them is Elvira, a big red background, large moon. Elvira walking a xenomorph on a leash, and the xenomorph has like a pink poodle cut.
Yep,
it's got like
sure
pom-poms on its feet and its tail, and a little fluff on its head, and it's got a spiked collar. I should say a legally distinct xenomorph, right?
Yeah, it's colored differently and has like a couple of slightly different body parts to it. Yeah.
The other variant cover I see here, it's the alien up against Ripley in Alien 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like up against
That's
the side
exactly
of her
what it
face.
is, yep.
But the xenomorph has, you can see kind of a skull in its dome, which is a pretty sick detail.
And it also has predator dreads
Yes.
and lower predator mandibles as well.
It does. It's a big mishmash. But that skull in the dome is flashing me back to the hybrids in the Gibson Alien 3. You can see the skull in there, and a little bit the child, or not the I keep calling it the child, don't I? A little bit the newborn.
Yeah, it's the newborn. Yes.
Well, it technically is a child.
Yeah, that's correct.
Folks, stay tuned to our next episode, Deleted Scenes from Alien Resurrection, to hear me call it the child for the first time.
But yeah, like you said, it's like the Ripley 3 thing where the xenomorph is real close to her and she's kind of like wincing away. But in this one, Elvira is holding up a little can of like breath spray and like spraying it into the xenomorph's open mouth.
Just making a face like, ugh. Yeah, very good covers, very fun. Sets you up for... I think this is going to be a fun book. Let's see. Let's see if the jokes translate to the podcast format, Kenny. Right away, we're just in Alien, right? We've got a woman and a man looking through doors. Those
woman and man respectively are Ripley and Ash, but since this is a parody, they're not called that.
They look like Ripley and Ash, and Ripley, in quotes, is saying quarantine, and Ash is saying, I say Captain Houston instead of Captain Dallas. That's pretty good. Who's that with you? And we've just got 3 people in spacesuits. One of them clearly with something on its face, busted through its helmet, and Elvira just standing here.
Standing there, like in her normal Elvira outfit, you know?
Yeah, just in her Elvira outfit. And she's like, yeah, I do that sometimes. I just kind of appear places. And she begins to introduce herself, but they cut her off because Wells is hurt.
Yeah, we find out that the Kane analog is named Wells in this one, which I'm rolling my eyes at that one.
Is that a Citizen Kane reference? Orson Welles?
It is, yes.
Okay.
I have to assume it is,
It's
yes.
got to be, right. And she's like, oh, of course he's hurt. And you're Cartwright, and that's Scarrett. But in the movie, you have different names, right? So she's just calling out the actors, Veronica Cartwright and Tom Skerritt.
And then it cuts back to Ripley and Ash. Well, we don't know what their real names are yet. But Ripley says, we can't break quarantine, Hepburn. Sorry. And then Ash goes, oops, and then hits the button to open the door anyway.
She's like, God damn it. Okay, so Hepburn must be Veronica Cartwright.
Probably, yeah. I'd have to assume.
Because Dallas is Houston.
Oh, yeah, and Kane is Wells.
Kane is Wells. And so we learned that Ash is Cinder. Okay, I get it. Jesus fucking Christ.
Like, we meant it when we said it was a parody of Alien, folks.
She's like, I'm seeing your Ash. She says, I said oopsie, what more do you want? Just straight up pressing the button to let him in. And we get the title of this book, Elvira in Horrorland, Chapter 3, Giger Encounter.
Which I'm rolling my eyes already.
Damn it. This is... Folks,
the entire book is going to be like this, dog.
We're going to enjoy going through this. I hope you enjoy listening to it. You should probably go read it for yourselves, though.
All right. Anyway, when Cinder lets them in, Elvira thanks him and then calls him Bilbo.
Because Ian Holm plays Bilbo, and as this character points out, he also played Frodo on radio. Wow, dude. Have we gotten Ripley's name yet?
Not yet, but she tries to prevent Elvira from entering, And Elvira's like, look, it'll be easier for me to explain to everyone, but I have to do it now while you're all still alive.
Nice. So then we see Wells in the med bay, and we see Cinder trying to take the legally distinct face hugger off his face. And she's like, long story short, Houston, you have a problem. Oh my God.
Yeah. Like I said, the entire fucking book is going to be like this.
Oh, I think we made a mistake, dude.
It's fine. We're
gonna see through it. They ask her how she got through the airlock and how she's not freezing in this dress.
She says that she arrived via using an interdimensional travel device,
which is lost somewhere on the ship now. And then Houston's like, on my ship, I need to talk to Mother. And now we get a reference to the Psycho issue, just like that hotel manager. We need to talk about Mother, but first things first. Okay, that's fun.
Yeah. Okay. She says here that the alien is going to show up and then kill she says kill everyone except Zool here. I do not get that reference.
Sigourney Weaver embodied Zool in Ghostbusters, right?
Okay, got it. I haven't seen either of them, the original ones. So
no worries. That is a Ghostbusters reference.
Got it. To be honest, I don't even think I knew she was in Ghostbusters. So
yeah, as with most movies, I think she's the best part of it.
That's not surprising. But yeah, she says that the alien's going to show up and kill everyone, and then smash cut to her locked in the brig.
She didn't even know they had a brig. All right, so now she's like, this thing is walled. It's one thing to find a remote control in a couple of creepy hotels. That's nice, because the previous two issues were
both
Psycho
in hotels.
and The Shining.
Yeah.
She goes, but on a starship, this thing is wall-to-wall little metal doodads. Ridley loves that stuff. Okay.
And then there's a knock on the door to the brig, and it's Ripley, or again, whatever her name is in this movie.
They haven't said.
Yeah, not yet. But she comes in to basically say, oh yeah, Wells is fine. The thing fell off his face. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Don't
she
worry.
literally says, you were wrong.
Yeah.
So he's at lunch, I guess? Yeah, okay. You're lucky to be missing that scene this time around. Wow, dude.
Yeah, they talk for a little bit more about how she knows this stuff, and she says that it's a folk tale where she comes from, and Ripley's like, this isn't a story, it's real, it's actually happening to us for real.
And from off panel we hear, kill it.
And Elvira very comically and largely rolls her eyes before they run off.
So now we have cut to the future. We see Brett and Parker stand-ins with the cattle prod, Cinder, Houston,
Elvira, Ripley, and what was her name? Hepburn.
Yeah.
And then we get a little Alf reference here.
This alien doesn't eat cats. He's not Alf. Okay. Yeah, we have the cat, of course.
Yeah. Yeah,
and Hepburn's like, how did she know? Did she plant that thing in Wells? And why is she in a cocktail dress? All very funny.
Yeah.
She's like, if I planted the alien, why would I have warned you about it, right?
And then Houston says again about how he has to go talk to Mother. And then Elvira goes, wow, these guys aren't exactly Starfleet material. Groan.
I forgot what total losers this crew are, aside from Warrant Officer Supermodel. Is her name Supermodel? Or is this just more...
And then the cat acknowledges that he knows who Alf is, so that's fun.
I need to look up... Was Sigourney Weaver in a movie called Supermodel?
Let's see. And then it's Houston and Cinder are talking a bit more about how they're going to have to track down the alien and kill it. And then she, as in Elvira, says it gets way bigger, like a lot bigger than it is now. And Houston's like, shut up. We're going along with the plan. And then over the top of a background that looks like Pac-Man, she gives a big speech about how the thing is really big and it's going to start chasing everyone down to kill them, and none of your plans are going to work, and etc. etc. And then she says, what you guys need is guns.
She says, this is Okay, is this real? She says, whatever happened to those sidearms you had on your spacesuits? Remember those? Those would be good. Actual guns and stuff? Did they have sidearms? I feel like...
I think they very explicitly did not have weapons on the ship in the movie.
I'm wondering if what she's thinking of is like the grapple guns, because we do, you know, maybe that's what it's a reference to.
She says that they all stare at her, and then it smash cuts again to her back in the brig.
That's a good gag. Good grief, it's a running gag.
And then Ripley comes back in, and Elvira's like, let me guess. Somebody got killed by the alien, and Ripley just goes, I'm starting to believe you. She asks if the alien is going to kill her, and Elvira says, this one doesn't. Yeah. Not now, not on this ship.
She's like, I'm trying to save you and your shipmates and get out of here. But yeah, that's great. She says, you don't die on this ship, and that monster doesn't kill you.
But yeah, she basically explains how the plot of the movie Alien ends.
Spoilers for the movie Alien. She describes them. The self-destruct and escape pod.
And then Ripley says, so after that, I'm fine. And Elvira goes, yeah.
Clear sailing for you. Not one bit of trouble.
And then it cuts over to the door of the brig where Houston is standing there with a big weird grin staring at them. And then the door opens and it's actually Houston's severed head being held by the Xenomorph.
And this is the Xenomorph from that variant cover. It has the predator mandibles and it has the skull,
dreads,
the skull in the dome. And the dreads. This is cool looking. And it's wearing a belt, it looks like. It's very legally distinct.
Yeah. They definitely went out of their way and tried their best to make it look like the Xenomorph, but not look like the Xenomorph.
Legally dissimilar Xenomorph.
And then the two of them freak out and push a big box thing into the doorway to knock it over. And then I keep saying she. Elvira accidentally lets slip that she survives for 3 movies, and Ripley's like, wait, 3 of them? What do you mean?
That's so funny.
And then the Xenomorph pushes the box out of the way and chases him down the hall.
These are good. Hold on. There's some really good meta comic book jokes on here. Because she does say Avalon waited almost as long as Ridley to show us the alien. Surprising restraint, referring to David Avalon, writer of this book. And now she's like noticing that she has thought bubbles.
Yeah, she had done that earlier on in the comic too. Yeah. The two of them run down a hallway and close the door, and Ripley says, oh yeah, we got some time now. And then Elvira has the extremely bizarre line, good, this is not how I usually like to get eaten.
Oh my god, yeah, that is one thing. There's a lot of innuendo with Elvira jokes, and a lot of jokes about her breasts, everybody.
Anyway. They walk into the now empty mess hall.
Yes.
And Cinder is kind of just watching them from the shadows.
That's that room from the Dead by Daylight map.
Sure is. And then Cinder is talking to them for a bit about how he doesn't have enough data and how Elvira is fucking everything up just by being there.
Right. He's still collating.
And then just as she's about to tell Ripley that he's a robot, he punches her right in the fucking face.
He may be the best actor here, but there's something you need to know about this guy.
Yeah, Cinder punches Elvira in the face, and because she's like, he's a and then he goes, Rotarian, and then punches her, but she finally manages to get out, he's a freaking robot.
Folks, that's a joke about being a member of a Rotary Club.
And then I was literally about to call him Ash. As Cinder is fighting them, we cut to the Xenomorph watching them through the window, and the Xenomorph has the line, they seem busy, I'll just come back.
I'll come back later, I guess. Yeah. It's just his hand up to his mouth like he's concerned, like, ooh, I didn't realize they were in the middle of something.
The 3 of them are fighting, and as they do, Hepburn and whatever Parker's name is in this comic come in and see them fighting, and the two of them are like, oh no. And so he picks up a fire extinguisher and whaps Cinder in the head with it.
And just says a line from Alien about needing to talk about the bonus situation.
And when he hits Cinder in the head, Cinder's head falls off and all the robot parts come out, and everyone's like, God damn.
Elvira literally says got milk. Okay.
Oh, okay, there we go. According to the Ripley XP, his name is Holland.
Holland, okay. I don't get it.
Yeah, neither do I. But
I feel like she could have made a Kananga joke.
But Ripley says that she's going to set the auto-destruct and, run through the events of the end of the film Alien. And then Elvira says that, look, I gotta go after that remote control, so I'm not going with you. And while they're having this conversation, Ripley is loading Jonesy up into the cat cage.
Right. Hepburn does say there's only room for 3 on the pod, which is accurate. And Elvira's like, well, don't worry, I'm not going with you. I gotta find my remote, right? She's like, the machine that got me here, it's always in the villain's lair. I couldn't figure out until just now where that would be.
Yeah, because according to Elvira, Mother was behind it all.
Yeah,
Mother was the one that sent him to the planet. Mother programmed the mechanical hobbit to sabotage you. So that's fun.
That is fun.
And then she also says, while we're on our way to Mother, let's get these guns. And then we just see them with guns. So that's fun.
Now they all have guns. And when I hit it and it bleeds a hole through the deck, we run to the next bulkhead door and seal it. The acid blood cuts as a hole breaches behind us and sealed off. Okay, so they address, the logistics. I wonder why I never thought of that before. Lazy writing, probably. Damn.
They keep running through, and as they turn a corner, the Xenomorph shows up right in front of them to attack it, and they start shooting, and as the alien's getting hit, it's going, ow, 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 ow.
I love that it just talks. This is fun. And it has melted a giant hole through the floor, similar to what we saw in Alien Resurrection.
And then the comic takes an extremely bizarre twist where as they're approaching the door, we hear an English guy speaking from off screen, and then the camera pans over and it's young Ridley Scott waving the script, standing in front of a camera going, "There's a script. You guys can't just do whatever you want." And then while he's standing there talking about how they got to follow the script, young James Cameron comes in and pushes him off to the side and goes, "Your script sucked. You need dozens of aliens. It's boring to only have one."
One alien. Crap.
Yeah, then a whole bunch of Xenomorphs come in and rip Ridley Scott to shreds.
Now that's action, baby. But then they all turn on James Cameron and start eating him as he says, "Game over, man."
And then there's also a Terminator reference on top of everything else.
As he dies and he gives a thumbs up. Holy fuck. The Parker stand-in just says bonus situation.
Yeah, the remaining characters are like, yeah, let's just fucking get out of here.
Yeah.
So Ripley splits off and says, "I'll meet you at the escape pods," and Elvira calls Parker Alonzo Mosley.
All right, that must be a character that he's played.
Ripley's setting everything up while Elvira is figuring out where Mother is. The two of them shake on it, and she says, "One last thing. When they offer you the third one, just say no." And Ripley's like, "Third what?" Let's see. She goes inside to meet what she refers to as HAL 9000, so that's fun.
That is fun. HAL 9000 without the winning personality.
She's, typing in the answers on the console.
"What are you doing at my console, lady? None of your beeswax, Mother. But while I got your attention..." She asked Mother how to get home, and Mother says insufficient data.
And the remote is just sitting there right next to the console, and she scoops it up.
Yeah.
And while she's doing that, she hears in the announcement that the emergency destruct system is active. And then she clicks the button on the remote, and there's some TV static, and it whooshes her away.
Yes.
And she appears in what looks like a boiler room.
Sure.
With what is clearly Nancy and Freddy Krueger standing there, but Freddy's wearing a little newsboy cap, and rather than all of the stripes, he just has like a Charlie Brown shirt on with only the one, and his claw has, let's see, a corkscrew, a serrated knife, a flat blade knife, and some kind of
I think a bottle opener.
I would say like a can opener or a bottle opener or something, and he's like, you know, menacingly waving it at the two of them, like, because they were clearly in the middle of a confrontation right as she appears.
This is a very good joke because she says, "I guess this is what I get for signing off with unpleasant dreams all these years," which is how she would sign off Elvira's movie Macabre.
I got you.
But that's the end of the issue.
Sure is.
Yeah. Look, I can't stress this enough. Go read this thing. Read this whole. Look, I am willing to bet that in our listening audience there are fans of Psycho, The Shining, Nightmare on Elm Street, and The Fly. I mean, I think there's fans of all of those things hosting this podcast right now, right?
That is correct. Yes.
This having read an issue of this series, this is really fucking funny.
I want to be clear. I want to be absolutely crystal clear right now.
Yeah.
It is extremely stupid.
It's dumb. It's good though.
It's fucking dumb as hell.
If all the issues are like this, they're very dense. We didn't hit every single joke because you just can't, right?
Well, I mean, we could have, but like, again, we're not here to just transcribe the comic for the listeners, you know?
We did hit a bunch of them, but there's more to be had. And there's 4 other issues in this series. And I think a trade paperback is coming out for this soon that'll collect all 5 if it's not out now.
And, you know, well, I mean, it came out, like, the comics came out, like, a year ago, so I would imagine the trade would have been out by now.
I can tell you the trade will release on January 24th, 2024.
Wow. I'm genuinely surprised it's not out yet.
At least in digital. Maybe there's a physical copy already out.
I gotta say, though, like, thinking about it now, we never did find out what Ripley's character's name was.
Yeah, we didn't find out we didn't figure out who Brett was either.
Yeah, we didn't find out what Brett's name was either, yeah.
We may not have figured out who Veronica Cartwright's, who Lambert's character actually was. That might have just been something, because she was just throwing out references as names, right, to some of them. Like, I'm not sure. Oh, so she called Yaphet Kotto's character Alonzo Mosley, right? Mm-hmm. That is his character from Midnight Run. She called Veronica Cartwright Hepburn?
Yeah.
Do you think she played Katharine Hepburn in something?
Maybe. I have no idea.
She's got the look, I think. I don't know. I'm not seeing that. I'm scrolling through Veronica Cartwright's 157 IMDb credits, and I'm not seeing it jumping out at me. But that doesn't mean anything. But that's a good way to play it safe, is to not just, like, you don't have to name everyone, right? Like,
that's true.
They could have named nobody. Like, I don't know. It could have all been references. Like, she could have called Tom Skerritt, like, whatever his Top Gun character's name was, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But yeah, the comic is very dumb and it's very cheesy. So if this is if you were reading Archie vs. Predator and go, I want more of this, then you should read this.
Yeah, you should read this. I do think that this is, I am gonna read the rest of this series now. And I'm going to encourage everybody else. No, we're not doing podcast episodes on this because, well, come on. It's, again, not an Elvira podcast, but
that's correct.
I encourage everybody out there to read, this issue. Read all 5, man. These are good. And if you have Comixology Unlimited like I do, you can just borrow them all.
Well, there you go.
You know, maybe you can borrow them from your local library through the Hoopla app.
There you go.
Right? They might be in there.
They might.
But check it out. David Avallone wrote a really funny book here. And the is it Sylvia Califano? The art was good.
Mm-hmm. I liked it too. Yeah.
Yeah, and the script is funny.
Mm-hmm.
Faithful to Alien, while also like it's having a good time poking fun at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not outright insulting it or anything. Like it's a smart parody, is what I'm saying. It's not like a Scary Movie 4. Like the jokes mean something in this, right?
I will say I do find it strange, like the joke near the end when she's like, when they ask you about a third one, say no. It's weird that she said that because like she should have said when they ask you about a fourth one, say no.
Yeah.
Because even though a lot of people aren't a big fan of the third one, the fourth one is widely considered to be the worst of the four. Why
Right.
did she go with 3 instead? That's strange.
I think she went with 3 because she's not talking to Sigourney Weaver. She's talking to Ellen Ripley, and Ellen Ripley dies in the third one. I think
That's a good point.
I think that's more what it was. It was more like
That's a very good point.
hey,
Fair
if,
enough.
if you do the third one, you're going to get a xenomorph inside you, kind of off screen between movies, and you're going to have to kill yourself at the end. You know,
Good
So,
point.
like,
Good point. You've got
yeah.
me there.
Yeah, I think that was very specifically. I'm talking to the character. It blurs the lines a little bit, right? But
I mean, that's parodies, baby.
yeah, but this was funny. I like at the end here when she's asking Mother how to get home, and Mother's like, you should show this interdimensional device to the science officer, and that's Ash, who is dead. So she's just like, yeah, that's not going to happen. Oh well, I'll just smash some buttons again. I like the
Well,
idea
she
of her,
found the
like-
remote, and that's all that mattered.
Like, there's got to be a moment in every issue where she's like, okay, now to get this thing working. Oh, I can't. Oh, well, I'll just smash the buttons, right? Fun book.
It's very fun. I will definitely give it that.
It's very Elvira, right? Like, I talked a little bit about, for the Elvira's movie Macabre, where she would host these movies, she would occasionally pop in with commentary, sort of Mystery Science Theater style. There would also be wraparound segments and segments between, like, for commercial breaks and things like that, where she would, make some jokes, talk about her breasts, etc., right? Where she'd interrupt a movie and make some comments on it. And it wasn't always, like, super duper hilarious, it wasn't Mystery Science Theater level of writing in many cases.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, as the character went on and the series went on, like, if you pop into, like, the 13 Days of Elvira or whatever the Hulu series is, like, the opening bits to that are really solid and well written. And this book, like, captures the campy sort of comedy of the Elvira character really, really well, I think. Like, I don't go super deep with Elvira, but I've seen enough Cassandra Peterson portraying the character to feel like this comic is being really faithful to the way she performs the character. So, if you're an Elvira fan, this is going to scratch an itch for you as well. 2 thumbs up. Fun book.
Yeah, I had a good time too.
Yeah. And I'm glad we did this. I'm glad we broke our rule for this Halloween special, Kenny.
Yeah, here's the thing. I don't entirely know if we actually did break our rule because, like, at one point we were considering covering Jason X, which straight up is not alien related at all. This
Right.
actually is, so it's probably fine.
Yeah. All right. That's fair.
I mean, like, this isn't any further from what we normally do than the Predator holiday special,
Right. Except that was, an official
True.
made by 20th Century on the
that's
Predator
true.
DVD,
Yeah, that was the one difference that was officially licensed and this one was just a parody. That's true. You've got me there.
Yeah, but like you said, this counts. This counts enough. Go
Yeah, it's fine.
Go check it out, folks, and go check out the rest of the Elvira books. So you mentioned the Elvira in Monsterland series.
Sure did.
I believe the premise of that is Elvira encountering sort of the classic Universal monsters. Again, I don't think with the Universal branding, but I believe that is her encountering, like, Wolfman, Frankenstein, Dracula, etc. So I bet that's really fun too.
I remembered reading somewhere that she was teamed up with the ghost of Vincent Price in that one.
Oh, that's very fun.
So yeah.
Yeah. So I bet there's a lot of, again, I'm sure we've got a large horror fans in general checking out the show, and probably some fans of just camp out there, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Go read these books. These are good, right? Anyway, I think that's all I've got.
Yeah, I didn't really have anything else about it.
Yeah. Fun book. Go read it. Our next episode will be the Alien Resurrection deleted scenes and kind of just more discussion about the movie Alien Resurrection.
Yeah, it's kind of just part 2 of our discussion of the Resurrection movie, as it turns out. Yeah.
By way of checking out all of the deleted and extended scenes. And we are once again going to be joined by Bob from the Flock Podcast We've already recorded that one long before we recorded this episode. This was very much a last-minute decision on my part.
Oh yeah,
Push
at
Kenny
the time
into doing this.
At the time we are recording it, he told me, he told me about 6 hours ago, give or take, is when he pitched the idea to us. He's like, hey, how about we do this? And I was like, okay. And he goes, we should record it today. And I went, shit, okay.
So we're really jamming this thing out the door. And I'm going to try to release it same day, too. So people got plenty of time to listen to it before Halloween hits. So...
Also, one thing I wanted to mention real quick, you were talking about how Bob appeared on the Resurrection episode and our Resurrection Special Edition episode that's coming out next. I want to clarify for everyone, the reason he's on multiple of them is because I jokingly pitched, hey, Bob, you want to be on all of the Resurrection themed episodes? And he went, sure. So maybe he might be on all of them, who knows, but he's definitely on these two at least.
Hope you guys like Bob, because he might be on more episodes very soon. We don't know. We're not holding him to it. It's a lot of work. Again,
it's not like a contract or anything. It's just I just pitched it and he thought it would be funny. So
as you'll hear us discuss on the next episode, we got to read like 2 books. So
yeah,
that's a lot of reading for people who don't like to read books, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I'm not even sure Bob can read.
I mean, I don't have any like firm concrete evidence that I know for a fact that he can. So
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
But yeah, plenty more Alien Resurrection stuff coming up. Hope you enjoyed this brief distraction from that before we jump right back into it. Kenny, where can people find you on the internet if they want to wish you a happy Halloween? Do people do that?
That would be cool if somebody did. I like being wished to have happy things happen to me.
Right.
I'm on Blue Sky and Twitter. My handle is at CYHOBBEZ. There's other various social media and internet-based sites that I also use that handle on. So if you're on one of them and go, I wonder if he's on here, you can search for me on there. You might find me, but those are the main two that I primarily use.
You can find me on Instagram at FinalNeilRetro, Blue Sky at FinalNeil, Twitch.tv/FinalNeil. Recently, it's been a couple weeks because I've had some stuff going on, but I recently did a stream of James Bond 007 Agent Under Fire, and I'm going to get back to playing that game too and play another handful of James Bond games in a series I'm calling 00 Saturdays, but also maybe 00 Sundays sometimes, depending on scheduling. So follow me over there. Also, side note, Cassandra Peterson's first film role was an uncredited role as a dancer in the James Bond movie Diamonds Are Forever.
Nice. I did not know that. That's fun.
Love Cassandra Peterson. Also, you might catch me listening to her memoir audiobook, Yours Cruelly, Elvira. It's been on my wish list for a long time, and I might just pull that trigger with my next Audible credit.
I have not read it, but I know a few different people that have, and they all said it's very fun and they liked it a lot.
I guess I should plug my other show. There will be more episodes of it soon. I do a show about Mortal Kombat, movies, TV shows, comic books, anything but the video games, none of it canon. You can find that at mkpodquest.com. Make that show with our friend Corey, who also does a podcast of his own called They Made Another One, which you should also go listen to. They've done an episode on Alien Resurrection. They recently did a really fantastic Halloween special as well.
It was fun. I liked it a lot.
So go check it out. Also, another plug that is in no way inserted as I am finishing this edit. Kenny and I make a little cameo in the Flock Podcast's Halloween special. Kenny wrote some very funny stuff for our recorded segments in that, and you should definitely go check it out. I'll put a link in the show notes. Kenny, where can people find this show on the internet?
We have a website. That website is crewexpendable.net. Speaking of the website, if you want to send us an email, by the way, you should send us an email.
Yeah, we love it.
That email address is mother@crewexpendable.net. Speaking of websites, we're on YouTube at youtube.com/@crewexpendable. We have an Instagram account @crewexpendablepod, a Twitter account @crewexpendapod, and a Blue Sky account @crewexpendable.
While we're kind of talking about our YouTube channel, I do want to give a couple of shout outs here. Shout out to Chris talking about Alien Resurrection. You called the movie just The Blurst, which made me laugh.
It's good.
And shout out to Genjitsu17, who mentions on our Alien Resurrection episode, we were talking about if that was the first time we saw a drone spit acid. And Genjitsu17 reminded us that the runner in Alien 3 is the first one that spits acid on film. Spits the acid into Murphy's face. That's what causes him to fall into the fan.
Yeah.
Which, makes a lot of sense. I think we were so focused on the idea of it being a drone spitting acid, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Man, they got us on that one. That is a great pull. I totally fucking forgot about that. Good work.
Yeah. Shout out to Genjitsu17. Shout out to SuperBart1988. And shout out to Instagram friend Resident Evil Collector. I do mention they are the ones, as you will hear in the next episode, who were talking to me about the Alien Resurrection video game. I just wanted to confirm that and give him another holler.
Hell yeah.
Another holler. Is that?
It's fine.
It's fine. Guys, we rushed this episode.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
That's the only reason that seems like a weird thing to say is because you second guessed yourself after you said it. It's fine.
Sure. I think it's all of this SodaStream Pepsi Zero getting into my head.
I'm sure that's precisely what it is, yes.
Anyway, wish everybody out there a happy Halloween.
Same.
Watch some scary movies. Watch some Elvira's Movie Macabre. Watch some Alien. Watch some Halloween H2O, right?
I see what you did there.
Sure. And we'll be back soon to talk about Alien Resurrection, deleted and extended scenes. Until then,
stay frosty.
Wait, should we do a special Halloween send-off? Until then,
stay spooky.